want to start off. I want to go to Cal first on this. 300 million euro bid, 700 million euros in salary for 1 year for Mbappe, potentially with the door then open for him to join Madrid for free. I'm sure Madrid fans everywhere are licking their lips at the prospect of this, but a lot of people today are saying this is going to kill football. It's a ridiculous bid. It shouldn't be allowed. What's your take on it, Cal?
It's not going to kill football. I think people overreact and they use that term so freely. Like, we've seen so many other things happen in football and it's not killed football. This isn't going to kill football. This is one player going for an extortionate amount of money. Like, you could argue the other way. Look at someone like Mahrez. Mahrez is worth way more than 25 mil, but only went for 25 mil. Salaries, again, yeah, we can speak about salaries to a blue in the face, but Mbappe is on what, 2 mil a week at the moment. It's not like he's on change at the moment. So he's just going somewhere where they've just got an influx of stupid amount of money. They can afford to do it. He wants to take up the opportunity. And let's be honest, who here is going to say no to 700 mil for 1 year worth of work?
Tax-free.
Tax-free. Bro, I'm going to be real with you. I'm so close to dusting off my football boots and playing third division in Saudi Arabia. I'm so close. 5K a week, tax-free. I'll do it in a heartbeat. 5K a week?
Yeah. Couple of problems about this that I'm looking at it from an Arab point of view. Why are they bidding 300 million when PSG don't want that much money? Yes, I understand the salary. You want to offer him 11 million K a week. Okay, I get it. You want to attract Mbappe for 1 year. That's fine. Why 300 million? Why is that going to the Qatari PSG? Why? It could have been 150, could have been 200, because the player has nothing to do with that fee. That's one question. Second question is that going to affect his Euro form? Going to play, with all due respect, for a lower league with lesser player. Yes, I know they signed Benzema and everything, but you're not playing Champions League football. You're still playing Asian Cups and you're playing the Saudi League. And this is the Euro year. This is France's best team ever that I have seen. So is that going to affect his Euro form? 1 year in the Saudi League might drop his form. That's the second one. And the third one, it's football out of the way now. It's money. If anybody is offered that money, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. 11 million a week. What are they getting out of that? 11 million a week. What is this? I don't know. It's not football anymore.
Yes,
I understand. I understand that. Look, I don't agree that football's dying. And the reason I'm going to say that, and it's poetic and ironic and maybe even a coincidence, that on the day Trevor Francis passes away, and Trevor Francis is very significant in this, 69 years of age, passed away today, like RIP to him. He was the first £1 million football player in 1979. And the types of headlines, I spoke to my dad today, and the types of headlines that we're seeing now, football's going to die, this is exhaustion, this is crazy, is exactly what was written, exactly what was said on the airways in 1979 when Trevor Francis was sold for £1 million. It was seen as obscene, immoral, as poisonous, nasty. And you fast forward now, League One players sell for more than £1 million. And so I don't think it's going to kill football. My biggest question is, if Mbappe spends a year away from European football, not in the Champions League, not playing any of the top leagues, will this impact or damage his legacy at all? Will it hurt European football with him being missing for a whole year? We ain't going to see him. Because no disrespect, no one's really tuning in to watch the football over there. And even if they do, it's going to feel like a friendly to all of us. No one is going to look at those games and go, oh, I can't wait for it today. So is it damaging for his brand, not financially, but from a football point of view, Staffy or Roy, for him to go to Saudi now and miss a year of top flight football?
I don't think it's going to damage his brand. Roy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I personally don't think it's going to damage his brand because, firstly, if you just look at the size of it, like, unless he does something criminal, a footballing decision isn't going to, like, footballing decision like this isn't going to damage his brand. Because the way I look at it, he could potentially make £1 billion in 1 year. Like, you'd have to be insane to turn that down. Also, he's already got a fantastic body of work, and he's already one of the best players in the world, if not the best. So going to the Saudi League for a year, even though obviously I'm sure everyone here would rather he just stayed at PSG for another year, but they're not interested in having him if he doesn't re-sign. Going to the Saudi League for a year, I I don't think it's that terrible. Like, I think Mo was saying, it's gonna affect his Euro 2024 campaign. Like, unless the guy is literally unable to walk, he's going to the Euros and he's captaining his country. Like, one season in a league which isn't really ideal in comparison to where Deschamps wants him to play is not going to do any harm. Like, if he stays fit, he's going to the Euros. Yes, the quality of football, with all due respect to any Saudi person who's a fan here, isn't as high as what we see in Europe. But it's literally 1 year. He gets his dream club after. He makes £1 billion. And even for the Saudi league, we're all saying, oh, stop throwing money, blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest, as in, if you want to get to the level of these top European leagues, you've got to drop the bread. So you can't blame them. Yes, maybe 300 million, you could probably get a little less accepted, but look, that's what they thought was feasible. They want to pay him what, £700 million in 1 year or something like that. Like, if that's what they feel he's worth, then they've got every right to pay it. We might hate it, but at the end of the day, they're trying to get their league to a serious level. And considering the gap between them already, they had to drop the bread. So from Mbappe's perspective, he gets his bread. He gets to go to a new country, grow his brand even more in terms of playing in Saudi Arabia. He gets his dream transfer in a year's time. Regardless of what happens, he's going to the Euros. So from his perspective, there's nothing wrong. And from the Saudi league, yeah, we might hate it, but what else are they going to do if they want to bridge the gap? That's just my opinion.
You don't think this is post washing at all?
100% it is. And listen, I'm not going to hate on it. I'm not going to hate on it because at the end of the day, if you pay the money, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. You know, I don't rate it as from the footballing side, but when you're talking from the business side, yes, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, so like before people label us as haters, we're just trying to address it from a footballing side as well. The reason I was saying it won't damage his reputation is because this guy has already had a reputation that was built up on nothing for years. And this is going to sound very controversial. This guy has not won a Ballon d'Or. He's 26 and he's been labeled as the best player in the world for quite a while now. And he hasn't even won a Ballon d'Or yet. Isn't he 25? No, he's 25.
He's born in 1998. He's born in 1998.
Okay, so he's 25.
Stephanie, you're saying something crazy right now.
No. And I'm going to go ahead because, listen, 25, no Ballon d'Or.
He's 24 years old, though.
He's 24 with a World Cup.
So 99 then. Okay,
so is he going to win a Ballon d'Or when he goes to Saudi Arabia? Okay, so we'll talk by then. Because in a year, he still won't have a Ballon d'Or when he goes to Saudi Arabia. So no Champions League, no Ballon d'Or. People have putting him in conversations as the best player in the world for quite a while now. Hasn't even played in the Premier League. Hasn't played in Barcelona. Okay, when he won the World Cup, I knew we were going to say that. Was he the most important player on their team? Yes, he was. He was a good player.
No. The answer is yes.
No, he wasn't. We can disagree.
He was top three.
How was he top three? That World Cup was won based on Kante, Pogba, and Griezmann. Those were the three most important players.
What?
He did his part. He did his part, but let's not talk about Mbappe when he was, 17, 18 at that time? When he won it, he wasn't the Mbappe that we're talking about right now. He had like 2 goals that World Cup, something like that.
What? Sorry, he scored in
the
final. Scored
in a World Cup final, the first teenager to do it since Pele. And
wasn't he the one who beat Argentina in the quarterfinal single-handedly, running from halfway line?
Single-handedly. Yeah. So we're saying he single-handedly won the World Cup.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about that game. You're twisting my words.
Do you know what I'll say?
You said he single-handedly won them the game. He didn't. Yes, he was an essential part for that game.
World Cups. This kid has got a legacy. Almost. Listen. I don't think there's very many strikers in World Cup football history who actually have a legacy as good as Mbappe, and Mbappe's 24. He scored, even in the last final, they didn't win, but the man got a brace and scored. The second goal was amazing. But I do agree with you at club level. In my opinion, at club level, barring goals, Mbappe's done nothing. He's done zero yet because he's done it in a league that nobody in the world watches. He's done it in a substandard league. It's ranked currently the 6th biggest league in Europe. He's still young-ish. Okay, he's not a kid anymore, but he's still young. He can come back in a year's time if he goes to Saudi and win everything. But the guy he's competing with at the moment in terms of who's the best attacker in the world is Haaland. Haaland just did a treble in one of the hardest leagues in the world, broke goal scoring records that have stood for nearly 100 years in the hardest league in the world.
And he'll have a Ballon d'Or before Mbappe.
And has won a Champions League. And I do think it's just a little bit of you've got to strike while the iron is hot. I don't think you should be taking a year out of your best, your peak years to go and play in Saudi Arabia. Listen, for the money and everything else, I get it. And if that's his choice to go and earn $1 billion I respect his decision, but I think it could be legacy damaging for him. I really do think it could damage his legacy, taking a year away. I'm not saying he'll regress in that year, but he's going to be playing with a sub. If he went and spent a year in League One, we would all be worried about his development as a football player. So why are we not worried about him going to Saudi and doing that?
I just said that.
Terry,
but to be honest, Terry, the guy, sorry, I just want to add a point. The guy's motive over the past 3 years was money. Do you guys remember the contract he had to offer him?
Literally, Mo, I wanted to mention that.
Did you guys remember when he refused to get pictures with the rest of the French team because he said, I own my image rights and I have a different agent? And his whole motive, I think, all his career was, I saw it as money. He didn't move from PSG because they offered him a big contract. And I'm going to echo Roy. He is going to be nuts not to take 700 million in 1 year. This is crazy.
No, he is. The thing is, though, if it is all about money, I can respect that. I don't think people should not make decisions for money. But if his decision is about money and not about legacy, by definition, it's detrimental to it, if not damaging. But sorry, Cal, you were going to say something, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, the League One comparison you made, yeah, it makes sense. I hear where you're coming from. And I get why people say it could be legacy damaging. But at the same time, is it 17 years old? This kid's been, he's not even a kid. He's 17 years old since he's been playing at the highest level, right? And he's pretty much been winning stuff since the age of 17. Could you not argue that him having a year out of really hard football could actually be better for him? Because we've seen other players, Michael Owen, Rooney, who burst out on the scene really early, really young in age, and were burnt out by the age of 29, 30, 31 years old. Maybe this year out could actually do him the benefit, and then he joins Real Madrid. Who's to say he doesn't win 3 Champions Leagues in the next 6 years at Real Madrid, and then everyone's turning around going, you know what, that was a great deal.
That's too much hindsight.
I do get you. I do get you. What I would say is this: football in France is not hard. It's hard for people like you and me.
No, I disagree.
No, it is not.
Roy, the best French players don't even play in France.
Roy, the reason I'm saying it's not that hard, and I'm talking about at the elite end of the spectrum. I'm not talking about compared to us being able to do it. It's still difficult, but not compared to the Prem, La Liga, Serie A. The reason that I say that is I have seen on multiple occasions when PSG have a big midweek game in the Champions League, they will rest their main 11 players for a whole league game. You can't do that in England. You can't even really do that in Spain. The fact you can do that so regularly in France tells you it's not that difficult, in my personal opinion.
All the best French towns don't even play in France. This is why when you look, I rate all the towns that come out of France, don't get me wrong, but all their best players end up leaving France. If you're not playing for PSG, you're playing everywhere else. When you look at the teams that go to the World Cup and Euros, whatever, they're all playing either in Spain and England or Italy. So what you're saying is not wrong.
Yeah, and someone here said it's the most physical league in the world. I'd love to know what. I'm
Liga
always
very physical. The technical and physical level of Liga is actually
I'm not. Yeah,
high.
Okay, the technical ability in France, I know is there.
It's just not as high as Bundesliga, Serie A.
Oh, the Eredivisie has really high physical challenges in there. The Eredivisie, that doesn't mean that the quality is as high as the other leagues. Come on, Roy. The Bundesliga is a way better league than Liga. Listen, the La Liga.
I think it's stop disrespecting Liga. Listen, I'm not disrespecting Liga. I'm just telling it's looked at as the 6th best league in Europe for a reason, and I'm just stating that it's not as hard as La Liga or the Premier League. That is an absolute fact, and I think the Premier League and La Liga are more difficult by a country mile. By a country mile as an overall league, there's no way Man City go into a Premier League game on a Saturday at home against Burnley this season with a Champions League quarter-final in midweek. There's no way they rest their main 11 players. PSG do it all the time.
Man City is a bad example, Terry. Guardiola probably would do something mad like that.
Yeah, but he's never done it. That's my point. He's never done it. Liverpool don't do it. Man United have never done that. We all rotate, but not as much as them. And that's my only point. Listen, Mbappe is an amazing player. I am desperate as a football fan to see him play football in the Liga or the Premier League, where it is week in, week out, very difficult and very hard. I know he's going to smash it, but he has to tick that box in his career, and he ain't done it yet.
I don't think he's going to go, I don't think he's going to go. I think he'll stay. No, I don't think he'll go. I think he'll do exactly what he said. I think he'll do.
I don't think there's a choice anymore.
I know what PSG have said, but Kylian Mbappe has proven time and time again that he kind of is a little bit bigger than the club in this sense. I reckon he will dig his heels in. I don't see him going to the Saudi League. It's a lot of money. And it's enough to tempt almost any person. But I reckon he'll dig his heels in. I reckon he's looked across and seen Haaland go through that treble-winning season and be like, I can't go to Saudi now. And I also hope that's the case as well.
Where do you think he'll go?
I reckon exactly what PSG thinks going on. They think he's got a pre-agreement with Real Madrid. I genuinely think he will dig his heels in and he will just waste away at PSG, because I reckon they'll end up caving in and playing him for at some point during the season. If you're Kylian Mbappe, I don't see a world where if they can't force him, they can't make him sign anything. They can leave him out on the squad for pre-season. They can make his life a little bit difficult, but come October, November, December, if he's still sticking to his guns, I don't see PSG still keeping him warming up with the under 21s. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. If they go through to the Champions League, I don't see it.
That as a fact is just a joke, that a player is that much stronger than a club. That as a fact is just a joke. And I know it's true. I believe you. 100% I've seen it before. Kylian Mbappe can do that. But I believe they will have ways around it, even if they make a deal with Real Madrid. Even if they make a deal with Real Madrid for cheaper money. They're not idiots. They're not.
Yeah, they should do a deal. It's either do a deal with Madrid or he digs his heels in. I reckon the fact he's not even said anything so far around this bid or anything like that, I think is quite telling. I just don't see the world where he goes.
They should just do what they did when he signed for PSG and just loan him to Madrid for a year, pay 30 mil, whatever, and then do whatever, how many you
They
want
don't
to
want to deal with Madrid, though. Are you guys forgetting?
Well,
the whole reason this is all happening is they don't want to deal with them.
The only places he can go are Madrid, Man United, if they get taken over by the Qataris, or maybe Barcelona, but Barcelona have no money. So
can't go Arsenal. Arsenal fans have all said today they wouldn't swap.
Martinelli's too important.
What about Chelsea? What about Chelsea? Another 200 million.
We would do it, but we don't have Champions League.
Yeah, we're not attracted.
Oh, that's why.
Can anyone see him come into the Premier League?
No.
This guy doesn't want to compete, bro. He doesn't want to compete. He wants
his
money.
When he's
100% is going to go to Saudi. He doesn't want to compete. Like, why are we acting like we haven't seen that before? This guy grew up with wallpapers of Ronaldo and Madrid in his room. We've seen it for years, got sick of it, seeing it online for years. And the minute Madrid came in for him, he said, oh, sorry, 300 million from PSG. Oh, I'm staying here.
Staffy, are you saying that Man United and the Premier League is bigger than Real Madrid? Is that what I'm saying?
What does that have to do with Man United? I did not say anything that
No, you literally said Ronaldo.
You said
Ronaldo
posters.
United.
No, he had Ronaldo posters in his room of Real Madrid. Do you not know that famous picture?
Okay.
Yeah, of course. So
I know you love doing that, you instigator.
Listen, if you're French, you come to Arsenal. So don't even get your hopes up. If he's coming to the Prem, he's coming to.
Hold on. We've got more French players than you. What are we doing here?
Arsenal's Arsenal's heritage.
Oh, your heritage
is French players.
Roy, it's Arsenal's only heritage.
Let me see. Move on. I've had enough. I've had enough already. Turn off the stream.
Listen, one call from Nkunku and Mbappe's on the plane, man.
What? He's not coming to us, bro. If we had Europe, I'd fully back it. But we don't. So
you know what? I hope Bowley tests.
Mbappe would be one of the oldest players there. He's not trying to
be actually, if you're a senior member of the squad,
he would be
as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd love him in the Prem. But do you know what it is? I would rather him in Saudi than in the Prem at arrival, to be fair. Because do you know what I mean? The manager's dangerous. But the thing is, everyone's got to inquire about him, because at the end of the day, they're talking about letting him go for about 90 to 100 million. The fact that this is why PSG annoy me, though. And I know they're not a poor club, or I know they don't need money per se. But they should never have done this new deal for 2 years. This was always going to happen. That's the bit that frustrates me. You should have sold him. Like, this is for me, this is like a what's the word? A message and a lesson here. We'll come to that in a minute. A lesson and a message to the smaller clubs, whether they've got money or not. If you sign a star and he's on a 5-year deal and after 2 years he's killing it, sell him, because you're just going to end up losing money on these guys. This is what's going to keep happening now with these young stars. And it is true. It has been confirmed officially that Tottenham have inquired about Mbappe as well. which is an interesting. Anyone see a bit of Daniel Levy magic here?
No, I mean, I've also inquired to date Rihanna, but it's not going to happen either. Like,
Well,
we can all inquire.
You've inquired to date
Yeah.
Rihanna. That's
I've popped her a
interesting.
cheeky DM. I've popped
That's
her a cheeky DM. She hasn't got back to us yet, but I'm sure she will.